Hello and welcome to Something for the Weekend with the Open Times, and it's me, Ellis Butcher.
Me, Fiona Scott.
And me, Stephen Day.
Stephen Day's gearing up for another holiday.
I am.
He's never at work, this man.
I do my best to do as little work as possible, Ellis. You know that.
Hold on. Somebody's missing.
Someone is missing.
Yeah.
Somebody's missing.
Who is missing?
Where's Kathy?
She is currently on the road, heading south to God's own country, I think they call it. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
Anyone who believes that has obviously never been to, well, I better not say it. But anyway, so it's another weekend has rolled around. Do you know what? I've just been back at work for a week and it has gone like that. Has it felt like that for you, Fiona?
Ellis, I keep saying they're all going so quick. For it having been locked down and nobody's been allowed out for 3 months, the time has went so quickly. When you'd expect it to drag, it's went like a flash.
What do you think about the year speeding in, Stevie?
It's just disappeared. I can't believe, week on week. Partly all the work that's being done, and partly we're just doing the same thing and the same thing and the same thing.
Well, I've decided actually, because it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago, but I'm scratching that off because to me, 1920, I was going to say, 2020 hasn't actually been a year. It's been a waste of time. We've missed it. So I'm going to turn 52 next year again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. I think we'll have another party for you. Well, we'll have a party for you. I find it strange that we're sitting here in so many events, like your birthday, but we're missing events in the town that would normally be taking place and events that are to come, and that's the strange thing for me. I suppose subconsciously we think, oh well, we've got that in a couple of weeks and we've got that next month and we've got that, and all of a sudden we don't.
Stevie, it's every week in the summer. I mean, we've got shows, we've got games, we've got festivals, music festivals, and it's all gone.
Yeah,
there's been nothing. Strange.
But it does feel very liberating. I almost felt this morning when I was thinking about what am I going to do this weekend, I just thought there's a ton of stuff that I can now do, and it's really liberating to think that. But it's also a bit sort of intimidating as well, because it's like, actually I've got too much choice now. So what have you got lined up, Fiona?
Me? Oh gosh, I'll be bowling again, more than likely. That's about it. I think I'm meeting up with you on Saturday.
We are, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to have a big ratch.
A rummage. It's not going to be cash in the attic, Ellis. But for those of you who don't know, I've had a storage container at McQueen since I moved up here, which was January 2019, and I'm desperate to get rid of it. So there's only about quarter of it left. So I've offered Ellis free rein in it on Saturday, and after that it's going to the dump, or it's going to the charity shop.
Upcycling, that's what we're doing, isn't it? I'm going to go and have a look what Fiona's got, see if I can fit out my little flat with a few odds and ends. What about you, Stevie? Have you got anything lined up?
Well,
you will have. You're always Mr. Prepared.
Well, I was going to say I'm always Mr. Prepared, but actually, the more freedom we get, I'm a wee bit, as you were saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I've got to get out of the way of thinking, well, I can't do that because of this, and I can't do that because of that. I don't know how you folk feel about it. Do you feel kind of a wee bit tense, a wee bit worried about whether I should be doing something?
Yeah, it's not so much whether you should be doing it, it's how you do it, because everything's changed. So you have to think, will I wear a mask to that? Have I still got to social distance? There's a lot of thought has to go into what you're actually doing now.
Yeah. So my weekend will consist of hopefully running again after my successful running on the flat. I'm still waiting to hear when Parkrun's going to come back, as I am sure lots of people are, but there's no word on that. Might take a wee trip to Mynah with all the bits and pieces that have been gathering ready for recycling. I know that sounds very exciting, doesn't it?
That's it.
It's got to be done, though. This stuff's got to be done, hasn't it? And you have to do it at the weekend.
Yeah.
Well, Stevie, I'll probably meet you up there, because after Ellis has rummaged, is the damp taking bigger items yet? Does anybody know?
I don't actually know.
This is part of the issue, isn't it? Because I think everything is opening up, but as Fiona says, there's loads of and Stevie says there's loads of restrictions still in place. So it's kind of like, can you still do that? Is it possible to do that? Is it going to be the same? There's almost like this uncertainty. I think we've been, dare I say, institutionalised by lockdown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And everything you do, I think it's going to be a case of going online and checking beforehand. I had to do that through the week with the charity shops when I was delivering things there, because now you have to phone them up and book a slot.
Yeah.
Right, so they are open for doing that, but you have to make an appointment then?
Yes, because everything you take has to be quarantined for 3 weeks, I think she said. So if you've been having a clear out and you're taking stuff along that, those items then have to be quarantined for a certain time before they can be offered back to the public, and they all get washed and whatever.
It's a similar thing with clothes shops. What clothes shops have done now is they've stopped you being able to try the clothes on in the shop. You're allowed to take it home, try it on there, then you're allowed to return it. But when you do return it, as Fiona says, it goes into quarantine, I think for 72 hours or something like that. And they also, I think they steam clean it as well before it goes back out on the rail.
I mean, good on the shops, because, you know, they've had to put in so much extra measures so that people can go and use them. It's a bit of a nightmare for them. I mean, I don't even know if you're allowed to touch the things on the rails.
Yeah, I don't think you're encouraged to do it, are you? But I mean, you just instinctively pick stuff up and hold it up, don't you? And look at it. Now, you know that I've got a really quite a quirky and a bit random sort of view of life and sense of humour and things.
I thought you were going to say dress sense. I was sitting here nodding my head.
Well, that's what I'm expecting in your lockup when we go and have a look. We're not going through your ball gowns. So yeah, I've got a bit of a quirky outlook on things. Just a bit weird, really. And I've been looking at maybe considering getting a Mynah bird.
So, are you going to call it Arthur?
How about that?
Of all the things I thought you were going to say considering getting, that was very, very, very low on the list.
It wasn't even on my list, Stevie. That's random.
They tend to sell for about 200 quid. They tend to live for about 20 years. They need a very, very varied diet. And it can actually, and this is going to sound bizarre, it can actually include small pieces of meat as well in its diet, in a Mynah bird's diet. But I'm fascinated by the fact that of their mimicry, how they can mimic the human voice. So I went on YouTube to look up Mynah birds talking, and I found one in Hawaii, I think it was, and it says, "I'm a turkey. I'm a turkey." It's just the best thing I've ever seen on YouTube. And then it starts to quack like a duck as well.
Ellis, I know you said last week that you didn't have any friends.
Well, I might be getting a Mynah bird.
I am seriously worried about you now.
What exotic pets would you... Well, it's either that or a goldfish. And with great respect to lovely goldfish, they do just sort of, swim about a bit and, mess up the tank.
They're not known for their mimicry.
They're not known for their mimicry.
However, your little voice there, I'm thinking, wouldn't that be a great message tone, Fiona?
That would actually.
Just go on YouTube and just honestly look up Mynah birds. It's just brilliant. Oh, I was in absolute stitches about it. So yeah, would you have an exotic pet then, Stevie, or do you draw the line at border collies?
I think border collies are about where I did have a cat once, but it thought of itself as a border collie as well. But yeah, border collies are my thing. I don't think I could cope with small birds.
I always wanted a snake, but the problem with snakes is that you have to feed them rodents, and I can't stand rodents. So that was where my problem kind of lay.
I mean, I quite like the idea of getting a Mynah bird out and having it on my arm. A bit like Long John Silver. But I'm just the very. I think somebody was saying that how intelligent crows and or it might even be, forgive me, it might be ravens. But there's a lot of species of birds that are very, very intelligent. So I might learn something from this Mynah bird.
I think because the clue's in the word mimic, Ellis, you have to be intelligent to start with for your bird to be intelligent.
I would just love to come into my room and have somebody wolf whistle at me.
Not that recording this podcast and editing it can be a bit of a nightmare.
I could get it on the podcast, couldn't I? Saying, I'm a turkey. I'm a turkey. Watch it on YouTube, honestly. It'll put a smile on your face. What else does it do? It does a quack, 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 quack. Does that as well.
Ellis, do you know when I ask you before we start recording, how are you doing? Are you okay?
I told you I have a very quirky sense of humour and a very weird outlook on things.
Ellis, you do realise that...
Despite my corporate disguise.
So is that a corporate Hawaiian shirt you have then?
Yeah.
You do realise, Ellis, if you get this bird, it won't automatically... It won't automatically...
It's going again. Be quiet. Be quiet.
It won't automatically say, I'm a turkey.
Well, but I think I would teach it to say I'm a turkey, and then it would go quack, 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 quack as well. You have to watch it on YouTube. I'm not being paid for this, by the way, to recommend it. There is a Mynah bird on YouTube that says I'm a turkey.
Stevie, please
help me.
Please tell us something normal that you're intended to do in.
Last weekend, I know we're talking about this weekend, but fresh from buying a sofa in the town, yes, everyone, we're getting the sofa. We no longer have to sit in uncomfy chairs.
So far, so good.
Yeah. The great thing was being able to wander around, and I wandered into Roxy's and I bought a takeaway and I took it away and ate it. And that for me was a unique experience I haven't done for so long. And
well, Ellis, Kathy and I went one better. We went into Roxy's and sat down.
We did.
See, I was just
ate cake.
That's brilliant. I was just 3 days too early for that.
Yeah, we meet on a Wednesday, fortunately, and that was the first day that opened. So, but I must say, it was like a total treat. It was lovely.
It was brilliant. And, from last week's podcast, I think it was Cafe Shore, just mentioned they do wonderful scones as well. All these places that are opening up and you can now wander in and eat and sit. And it sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's just been so long since you could just wander along and do that.
It's great, but there again, you have to, follow the measures and check first. I know Roxy's were great. I phoned and booked, but they take your number so they can track and trace, and they've got the hygiene stations, they've got the distancing in place. So that was great.
Yeah, and there's so many places around the town that are beginning to do this, and part of the coming out of lockdown is obviously getting the economy going and getting people in and just improving everyone's prospects and everyone's jobs and everyone's income. And it was actually Ellis put a video my way that was going up online on the website, and it works as an audio thing. Do you want me to play it for you?
Yeah, is this the Visit Scotland one?
This is the Visit Scotland one, and
you have to see this on YouTube. Forget about my daft Mynah bird.
Yeah, you have to see
this Visit Scotland film.
Listen to it with earphones on because it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and here we go.
Scotland, a country to take your breath away, to feel the sand in your toes on our miles of sandy beaches, to follow in the footsteps of our great ancestors, and get lost in the stories of our past. It needs you to enjoy the welcome we're famous for in ways that make us all feel more reassured, to get that much needed change of scenery, to dine in or out, to taste our world-famous produce as fresh as it comes, or as fresh as you can find it. It needs you to get swept up and explore. To make the water your playground and the landscape your dance floor. To sing along, however badly. To get up early and catch the sunrise and cozy up under the sunset. To connect to something other than Wi-Fi. And to reconnect with the people you love. And while we can't promise you the big shows we're famous for yet, when we do, there'll be fireworks. All we need you to do is enjoy all that we have to offer.
Only in Scotland can travelling so little make such a big difference.
You know something? When I first heard that, I actually felt a bit tearful. Did anybody else feel like that?
Yeah, I mean, it affected me hugely. I just thought, oh, look at all these things, and maybe I need to get out there a bit more. Maybe I need to obviously take care, heed of all the precautions, but start to go out again.
It was fantastic. I think what you were saying about the film, if you listen really carefully, I think her voice starts to break a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I really did feel quite goosebumpy and emotional the first time I heard that.
We're all out finally on parole, aren't we? This is what's happened. We're all out on parole now. Mm-hmm. We've managed to get through a very, very difficult period. But I thought the line about connect with something other than Wi-Fi, I just thought that was inspired.
Yeah. I mean, I would encourage anyone to go off and look at that. Is it on our site now, Ellis? Is it?
It is.
It is, and you'll find that on YouTube as well.
Here at the Auburn Times, we're always happy to hear from you. So stay in touch, tell us your stories, and keep sharing those photos. You can contact us by calling 01631 568 000, or you can email somethingfortheweekend@auburntimes.co.uk. Alternatively, you can message us on Facebook. And as we start to ease out of lockdown now, you can read all our stories for free online, or you can pick up a copy of the OT from all the usual places. So to get the page-turning digital edition of the Auburn Times, you can subscribe now and get 3 months for the discounted price of just £4.80. Get it while it's there, because it won't be there forever. That's all we've got for this week. The Mynah birds have flown away, and I'm just about to disappear as well. So it's goodbye from me, Ellis Butcher.
Bye from me, Fiona Scott.
And goodbye from me, Stephen Day.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye now. Caw-caw.